We saw how media query work in theory, so let's make a deal between me and you right here. We're going to change the color of luxury cars for every lover when we have our viewport width less than or equal to 800 pixels to become red. That's the first thing that we're going to do in order to see how this works. Please make a copy of the last version that you have developed of 7 cars without responsiveness. Put in a folder where you're going to keep track of all the changes that you make to include responsive design inside of it, so that you can know what is with responsive design and what doesn't have responsive design. But you can continue without separating, but I highly recommend to do that because it's going to keep you well organized. Let's go to our typography where we have our heading primary and make what we talked about in theory. So to start with, at media only screen, and the maximum width is less than or equal to 800 pixels. Now we can change the color, which was white, to become color red. Save and see. Let's simply start to reduce this, and now you can see it was initially here. When we reduce, what happens? As soon as we hit 800 pixels, it's going to change the color to red. That's the idea, and we can see it by inspecting. So when we reduce, you can see the width is 1274 right now. We can reduce. We are reducing. When we hit 800 pixels, you're going to see what's going to happen. The color is going to change because new style has been applied. So I can even take my element here, inspect it, and see on the styles I have here the style applied. But if I increase, this style no longer exists in my heading primary. That's the idea. Let's remove this because this doesn't really matter for us. That was simply to show you how media queries work. Let's go. This shouldn't be here. Let's go to our file. Going to save in order to make the updates and see what we have to change here. Before we change anything, I actually want to show you this toggle device that we have here. When we click, you can see your website in different screen widths and heights. For example, here we are seeing how our website behaves in a 720 width by 576 height device. What we really want to take more care right now is the width. So when we reduce, you can see it starts to shrink and it doesn't become very well presented to our user. But in huge font sizes, huge screen sizes, you see it okay. This is where we're going to be playing most part of the time, just to make the change of our viewport width and see how it behaves. You can even see common devices like iPhone XR, 12 Pro. This is how our website looks like on an iPhone 12 Pro right now. It's so bad, and we're going to actually be fixing all of that. It's going to look beautiful, nice. Also rotate, but that's not our intention right now. I'm going to leave this right here. The other option that you can use to view is simply remove this and toggle by yourself right here the width. Let's reduce. For me at this stage, luxury cars for every lover is so big, and all of this stuff is also big. What I can do here, and it's always going to be powerful, please keep in mind, I can simply change the font size of the overall root. Then this website is going to change the font size of its elements, because remember that we were always defining the widths most part of the time. That's better if I want to say that in terms of RAM. Just small units that we don't even care, like 1, 2, 3 pixels were defined using pixels. When we change the root, what's going to happen is that the new value of your root is going to be used as the member that will multiply the amount of rams that we have defined. For example, this element here is 3 by 3 ram. 3 by 3 means 30 by 30 pixels. If we reduce the overall font size when we hit 1200, it's going to be 3 times the new ram. Then most part of the problem is going to be solved, because right here in our logo, luxury cars for every lover, and the button also is going to change automatically. We made a good deal by defining our units in terms of RAM. That was a good approach for us, and it's going to save us time. So let's go to our main here in our HTML and start to make that happen. In our base, we're going to say at media only screen, and the maximum width is less than or equal to 1200 pixels. What I'm going to change is the font size. Now it's 62.5% of 16, which is 10 pixels. I want to reduce just 1 pixel, which is going to be 9 pixels, and this is equal to 25% of 16 pixels. Now we know that 1 RAM is equal to 9 pixels, and that happened because 9 pixels over 16 is going to give you 56 times that 25%. This is what we have right now. Saving and saving. Let's see how this is gonna behave for us. We are here, the font size is huge. Okay, do you see what happened? All changed. Very good. It's much better right now. Let's reduce and see what we want to change. Let's reduce. For me, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, let me go up. Let me go up. It's okay right here. It's still okay. Yeah, it's still okay. If you think that you want to change something, feel free to do. You don't have to have the same responsive design that I have right here, because you may think that your user are going to feel other thing being more comfortable than what I think is comfortable, right? Nice. I have these luxury cars for every lover, and this is taking our space, but if you reduce, you're going to see that it still has vertical space that's comfortable for the user. That's what I think. Even here I could even reduce the font size, but I think it's not okay. No, what I can do is simply shift this from the left to the right a bit, because it's becoming smaller, and I'm going to do here at 720 pixels. For that, I need to go to my header, and this is actually the text box. I'm going to simply give a padding to the left side. So let me say at media only screen, and the maximum width is 720 pixels. I'm going to start giving a padding to the left side of some 3 RAM. 3 times 9 pixels, because 720 pixels is less than 1200 pixels, and when the size of the viewport is less than 1200 pixels, the RAM is going to multiply 9 pixels. Have the idea in your mind, and it's going to save you forever. Now you're not timing by 10, but it's going to be by 9. Now let's see, let's reduce. Yes, it comes to the left side. It's much better. For me, the header, it's okay until this stage. Just until this stage. but I want to make something more right here useful. I can see that this font size for me is huge, so I can just reduce it when I hit here. For that, I'm not going to change the font size of this headers just because all the font sizes right here down are also so big. So what I'm going to do is to change the overall page font size of the root. Let me go here to my base, copy again, add media on the screen, and maximum width is, right now I'm going to work with 900 pixels, and I want to reduce it to 8 pixels. 8/16 is equal to 50%, right? So let's put here 50%, save, and see what happens as we hit 900 pixels. How many pixels do we have right now? Okay, reduce it. Now let's work with our slider, this part. Look how it behaves before we even start making any change. Okay, I'm having problems with my mouse. Let's reduce and see. Okay, the font size has reduced, everything is okay. The font size will reduce again. Nice. Okay, let's reduce. It's still cool to see. Okay, here I think we can start making some changes because this font size is so big. I'm going to choose this point here, 750 pixels. This is going to be the breakpoint where I'm going to reduce my paragraphs font size. So you know what to do, and the icons position are also here, so I'm going to move down just a bit. Let me go and make that happen. You know that this is your component slide. Where are you? Here you are. In our slide we have our paragraph that contains our text. I'm writing many times at media on the screen, and what's really changing is the font size. I'm going to write a mixin that's going to allow me to simply bring the mixin and pass as a parameter the width that I want to use. And most part of the times in our design, we really don't want to work with pixels. When we do responsive design, it's much better to use EMs. And one EM is always going to be equal to 16 pixels. What we have to do here is to take the value of 1200 and divide it by 16. Then this value is going to be in the unit of EM, and we will use it. So 1200/16 is 75 EM. So let's change here to 75 EM. Instead of being me writing here EMs every time, what I'm going to make is the usage of function for the very first time here. Our function is going to be responsible for taking our value in pixels and translate it to EM, because if someone here comes and sees your code, what is 75 EM, the person needs to multiply this value by 16 in order to figure out what is the pixel that you are working with. And that's something that we don't want to really make. So let's make our lives easier. Starting with our function, so let's write here function.scss. We can have many functions right here. The first one is going to be pixel to EM. That's the name I prefer to give. And you know how to declare a function. You simply say add function. Maybe you have forgotten because we didn't talk about functions so much until this stage. To EM And here we're going to take the unit in pixel, and the result is going to be simply pixels over 16 EMs. So we simply say return the pixel that we have passed over 16, and we're going to concatenate the string EM. So this is the result. Let me save, go to my main. Where are you? Here you are. This is abstracts, mixins. Now I have a function. Nice. Now let's create the mixin. Our mixin is going to be simply responsiveness as the name. So let's say responsiveness. This mixin is going to take the screen width and it's going to say add media only screen, and the maximum width is less than or equal to the screen width right here and S here. And you may be asking yourself, in other mixins this content was the only one copied and pasted right there. Now how are we going to make? Use the content directive. So you simply put here your content. This is going to copy at media on the screen the maximum width with the width that you pass, and it's going to pass the content that you put when you call this responsiveness mixin. Going back to our base file, we can get rid of this by simply saying add include responsiveness, okay, and we can pass what 75 EM is wrong because we are going to put the value in pixels and we are not going to write 1200 pixels right here. Instead, we're going to call the function pixel to EM and say 1200. That's all we want. And now we can paste this right there. The same is going to be valid for 900 pixels. This is making our lives a lot easier. So let's copy this and paste here. Let's remove all this content and save. Now let's remove what we don't really want here because we have made the things much easier for us. Save. Okay, undefined variable color gray, line 5 of CSS base typography. Let me undo. Maybe I've made something that I shouldn't have done here. Let me save. Color gray is not defined in our variables. That's impossible. We have worked with color gray. So how this is working? So let's save it. Let's see if we don't have color gray. Yes, here is defined. I don't know why I have this bug. Let me save it. Undefined variable color gray formatted line 5 of CSS base typography base. Let me go to base in my typography line 5. Okay, let me go to my main. Maybe I didn't import some yes, the variables are not imported right here. Variables and save. This shouldn't break our code, so let's make sure that it's working. Our live server is down, now it's up. Okay, it didn't break. Do you see? Okay, we have this padding, it's still being applied, and the font size also has decreased. You can test here on 1200. It's increasing and decreasing. This is how we're going to work. Now let's go to our slide. our slide again, instead of being with that, let's put what we define it together. Where are you? The slide. Yes, so now I can work. Let's include responsiveness pixel to EM. This is 750 as we have defined it. Font size, let's put some foreign. Save with the main, also save and see what we have. So this should happen at 750 pixels, reducing. Nice. So let's reduce icons. So let's come here to our icons. I want to have a top of some 16%. Save here and see. Now let me inspect it. It's much better. It was applied inside of our icons. Here you can see from top is 16%. Is not right here down, it's more up. The next thing that we can change, let's see right here in our design. Okay, I think this can now go down and stay right here. So let's increase more when we go to the icons, and the pixel to EM becomes to 700. We can start with some 85, put right there. Very good. This is how it should be, in my opinion. Let's reduce here more. Okay, it's still nice. It ended here in 500. So what we can do is come here to this, increase our width right here of all the browser, and keep reducing from here. Now we can see. I'm going to put this on my right side. It's much better for me. I have better viewing. Okay, I'm going to put auto adjust here. Yes, you can see that when this hits too slow, the font size is so high. I'm going to use my 450 as the breakpoint. So 450 pixels is going to be my next breakpoint. But for my advantage, instead of just giving here some 450 pixels, then reduce for some 3 rams, I'm going to change the overall width as I approach to the zone, because it's still having a huge font size. So my idea is to come to my base and change the font size to 7 pixels when I hit some. Let me go down. Yeah, some 600 in my base file. Let me copy this, paste. Now it's for 600. This is going to be some 7 pixels, which is, I'm making calculus right here, 7 over 16 is 43.75%. So 1 gram is going to be 7 pixels. 7 over this is equal to 43.75, and save. Let me remove this mixin also, and save here 450. Now 3 grams is going to be timing 10. Let's see if this is gonna work or not. Okay, let me reduce 450. Yeah, it's much better right now, but I'm going to put it on 3.5 main. And yeah, this slide is okay. So don't worry about super small screen size like 251, because the market doesn't really have devices in excess for that. So make sure it's responsive for this major device breakpoints that you can see. At least it needs to be responsible for me when your device has the width of some 300 pixels. Here with 300 pixels we still can see our website. Let's try out, just changing. 320 in my opinion is better, because even 300 pixels devices we can see in these days. And here let's put some 75% or even 100% is much better. Now we don't care about that as long as we have it right here. Let's move to the next lesson, where we're going to work with more parts of our responsive design.